Welcome to Life Mosaic, where we explore the living legacy that connects generations for a lifetime and beyond. Here, life is all inclusive, embracing every moment and memory that shapes who we are. We're not just sharing people's stories, we are celebrating the timeless bond that weaves our lives together, transcending time and space. Join us as we uncover the beautiful mosaic of life. Hey everyone, we're so glad you're joining us for another episode. Well, here we are in the middle of pumpkin spice season. Oh, I mean fall. Everybody's always talking pumpkin spice. It's been out for a couple weeks. So, are you into pumpkin spice stuff much, Rich?
Well, I might be if Pumpkin Spice was one of the Spice Girls from the 90s, but otherwise, I'm a no. I'm not a coffee drinker, so the pumpkin spice lattes and all of that sort of jazz is not for me. But I do like pumpkin pie. I enjoy a good pumpkin pie when they come out around this time of the year. It seems like everywhere there's pumpkin spice everything now. It started with the latte and it's
Beer,
yeah
the
there's
craft beers.
but now it's just like everything is pumpkin spice. It's just really strange.
Yes, it's in candles and all of that stuff. But like you, Rich, I mean, I do drink coffee, but I don't do all the fancy coffees. I don't do the fancy beers, but I do I do like a good pumpkin spice dessert. I'm not a big pumpkin pie eater.
No, not a pumpkin pie eater.
No,
Oh,
no, but
wheezy.
boy, I mean, pumpkin rolls or what I make because it's easier than making a pumpkin roll. It's a sheet cake. It's rather thin, but it's called pumpkin bars. It's like these squares. You put heaven. I mean, cream cheese, buttercream frosting on top. And I make this homemade and it has the pumpkin and the hint of cinnamon and some nutmeg and a little bit of ginger in it. And it is just divine.
That
And my
sounds really
family
good.
waits for it every fall.
Oh my goodness! And if you want to know how to get to Wheezy's house near Charlotte, I will give you her address if you follow us on Instagram, so you can
That
get
would
those
be a
bars.
negatory. That's a negatory,
No,
Rich. It's not going to
no.
give out my address.
Oh man.
But, but what I can do is I can give you the recipe over in the show notes for the pumpkin bars and the cream cheese frosting. The other thing I love about Fall Rich is apples and going apple picking. And I can say, I make a pretty mean apple pie using, and again, it's sweet and it's savory with those spices.
Oh, I love apples, and you know the this time of year, and as we're getting into the fall, the best apples are from North Carolina, in my opinion. Being a Carolinian for most of my life, and some of my North Carolina family come down this time of the year to Savannah, and they always grab a nice bag of those mountain North Carolina apples, and boy, Wheezy, those are better than any apple you're gonna find in the grocery store.
Oh, definitely in the grocery store. I love the North Carolina apples, but being a Pennsylvania girl, we grow them up there too, and they're very good up there too. But for the pies, I can't give you the recipe or I'll have to kill you because it's a family secret.
Oh,
So,
top secret. I don't
but I
want.
will give the pumpkin spice over on the show notes.
So the pumpkin spice bar recipe will be over on our website, lifemosaic.me, lifemosaic.me, and you can also find previous episodes. If this is the first episode you're listening to, go on back there to lifemosaic.me, and you can find all of our great episodes and the show notes. And Wheezy does such a great job with the show notes, putting all the information about what we talk about. And as we get ready to have it, Wheezy, you also put the meme of the week.
I sure do. And speaking of meme of the week, it is time. It is time. And this week's is so funny. Rich, do you ever watch Big Bang Theory?
Yes, Wheezy, I'm a big fan of The Big Bang Theory. That was one of my favorite shows. I watched it every week and even watched the spinoff Young Sheldon, and another spinoff is coming this fall. I'm not really too excited about it, but I'll give it that one episode try. They get they get one episode, and if they get my attention, I'll be a fan. If not, then that'll be it for me. But the main one, yes, The Big Bang Theory, almost never disappointed throughout its entire run. Every episode was so good.
It was a good show. And you're probably going, okay, so you're talking about the meme of the week, but yet you go into the Big Bang Theory. Well, this week's meme is of Sheldon from the Big Bang Theory, and he has an aerosol can in his hand, and he's got his shirt collar up over his nose, going, "Oh, the smell, it's everywhere." And why are we doing a meme like that? Because it fits with our story that we have to share this week. So,
But
Rich, here poor the Germanophobe Sheldon is spraying the aerosol can everywhere. What is in the world the worst smell for you?
I know one of the worst smells for me is smelling fish. If you go into the supermarket and go over to the fish section or anywhere anything fishy, I do not like seafood. I'm in the wrong place in the world. I'm at coastal Georgia where there's an abundance of wonderful fresh seafood, but no, it's not for me, and I just hate that. I try to avoid the fish section in the grocery store because oh
Uh,
man, that smell just yeah, that one lingers with me.
yeah, and there's some smells out there that are a little creepy. And so this is why the meme of the week goes so well with what we're talking about. What we're talking about is not nice like pumpkin spice, but it being fall and everything, a lot of people are starting to get hot geared up for Halloween. And our story does have a little bit of a Halloween flair to it.
So
Yeah.
Weezy, you've got me curious about what we will be talking about this week. What is our story for today?
Oh, this week I'm going to take you on a little mystery to solve.
Oh my goodness, are we going to jump into the mystery machine with Scooby Doo and the gang?
No, it's not that kind of mystery. It's not even a who done it. But this story will keep your mind guessing.
Well then, Weezy, let's hear it.
Okay, I'm going to start off just a little bit different with the story, but just hold tight. It will all make sense. But I want to bring in like if we were if we were the characters that are in our story and they're telling this, and this is how they would maybe start their story. I sit straight up in bed. The dog is barking downstairs. Oh my God, I'm just so exhausted. And all the time we've toiled getting into this new house and getting it settled, all I want to do is sleep. And here's the dog barking. Ugh. James, wake up. Scout's downstairs barking. Go see what's wrong. Oh my God. Oh my God. What is that awful smell? We look at each other. Now, do we see what the dog is barking about? Or go to the bathroom and, oh, that smell. Oh, or go to the bathroom and vomit. Oh, the smell is so awful. James says, I'll go check the dog. Please just go make up the other room for us. And so the mystery begins. So I found this story over at progolfnow.com. In his article was originally published on Wall Stories.
Most people, when they're getting ready to move into their new home, they're not really thinking about what secrets the home might be hiding in the old air ducts or behind the wall. Yet this was the case for one unlucky couple. No matter who you are, moving into a new home with your significant other is a big deal. You're usually going to spend years there, and it's a really big step in life. This particular home we're talking about today was taken by a couple named James and Mandy Fisher. This was their
Ugh.
first home, and they were understandably really excited about it. This was going to be the home where they planned to eventually raise children, at least for a while.
So, Rich and I thought it would be fun to retell their story as James and Mandy and their misadventures and their new home ownership. Of course, Rich will be portraying James, and I'll be playing the part of Mandy. But I'm going to tell on Rich for just a minute. When we were making our plans, we kind of we had a little dispute over who was going to play the part of Mandy because Rich really would like to play Mandy and wear a wig. So I am just telling on him because we laughed and we laughed and we laughed and had such a good time in our planning meeting that I just thought I'd tell on him today.
And I could
So,
also be Barry Manilow and say, "Oh, Mandy, when you came and you gave without taking, but I sent you away. Oh, Mandy."
oh, Mandy. But anyways, we'll stop all of our Mandy banter. But anyways, without further ado, here we are going to start our story with James.
Well, moving into a new home with your significant other is that's a big step, right? Mandy and I have been married for 5 years, and we thought it was finally time to buy a house and start thinking about our future. So we found this charming old Victorian in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Oh, it was perfect. We had looked for months, but the moment we stepped inside, I knew this was the place. It had character, a spacious interior, and even a nice sized yard for Scout, our dog.
Yeah, everything seemed great at first, and we were excited. But after we moved in and started unpacking, we noticed some odd things in the kitchen.
Like, we found a hatch in the middle of the floor of the kitchen. I swear, we never noticed it during our walkthroughs. I think it might have been covered up by a rug or something, but when we found it, it was locked tight, and no one had mentioned it or even given us a key.
And then there was that old cupboard left behind. The house had been mostly cleared out, but that stayed. And the moment Scout saw it, oh my goodness, he started growling, and he never acts like that, so I knew something was off.
And then there was this weird gap between the cupboard and the wall. I couldn't help but peek behind it. Oh my gosh, and there it was. I saw it. A door hidden back there. Of course, there wasn't a key for that either.
So we spent the next week trying to get settled, but things kept getting stranger. At first, I thought it was just odd, and then one night we were both reading in bed when this horrible smell hit us out of nowhere. We had to switch rooms to try to escape it, but it seemed like that smell followed us everywhere. It was awful.
Oh, I remember thinking, maybe it's in the heating system. So James started checking all the vents one by one.
And I found a key in one of the vents. It was an old skeleton key. I had a feeling it might fit that hidden door behind the cupboard.
So we took that key and we rushed into the kitchen. And sure enough, it worked. But just as we were about to open the door, Scout started barking furiously at a random corner of the living room. He never barked like that before. It was like he was trying to warn us.
We finally managed to calm Scout down and we went down into the basement with our flashlights. It was dark and musky down there, full of old casks, furniture, and a dusty photo. I even tripped over the last step, but luckily I was okay.
Oh, it felt so eerie. The basement was filled with old stuff, chests, documents, and even as James already said, some wine cask. I kept feeling like this strange sense of loneliness while looking through the old photos. It was like peering into somebody else's forgotten life.
We kept looking, but to no avail. Then Mandy remembered the hatch in the kitchen. So we searched some more, looking everywhere for a key in the basement, but we didn't find one. What we did find, though, was a crowbar. If we couldn't unlock the hatch, maybe I could pry it open.
And that's exactly what we did. We rushed upstairs to the kitchen to and tried to open that hatch. James clawed at that hatch and he broke the latch. And we opened the door to the hatch and there was another set of stairs. As we go down the stairs, we look around. It seemed like the old part of the pantry. We found a bunch of old papers, mostly recipes, and even the original blueprints to the house. Oh my goodness. And at the bottom of that blueprint paper, the date read 1887. This must be when the house was built.
That's when things started to get even weirder. We realized the blueprints did not match the layout of the house. There were parts that were missing, like a vent in the corner where Scout had been barking.
Oh, speaking of Scout, he started barking at that corner again. This time we decided to check it out. Speaking of Scout, he started barking at the corner again. This time we decided to check it out. James felt around the carpet and he found a bulge. And when he cut into the carpet, we discovered an old rusted vent underneath, one that wasn't on the new blueprints.
So I really became obsessed with opening this. It was rusted shut, but I tried everything I could to pry it open. I don't know why, but I felt like whatever was causing that smell, it had to be inside this vent.
Oh man, I started worrying about James. He was so fixated on that vent. I finally convinced him to leave it alone, at least for the night. But then, Lord and behold, I wake up in the middle of the night and James wasn't in the bed. I got up and I started to search for him. And there I found him downstairs, still trying to open that darn vent. He was covered in sweat, and it was just like, the obsession just took hold of him and he couldn't stop himself.
I just really needed to know what was in there, but I could not get that vent cover off. Mandy took me by the arm and led me back to bed. The next day we discussed it and decided to call a repairman. We needed help.
Oh, thank goodness when that repairman arrived, it didn't take him long at all to open that vent. But what we found inside. Hmm. So, Rich, what do you think they found? Give us a few guesses.
Oh my goodness. I think one thing would be some sort of dead animal maybe, or a rat or something. I mean, that's what goes to my mind first. It's got to be like some sort of rotten thing down there.
I guess, maybe it got caught in the wall or something, after the former proprietress of the house, maybe something was in the walls and laid in there and died or something
Yeah.
like that. But yeah, I'm not sure. So, but anyways, moving on with our story, back with Mandy. So the repairman shined the light inside, and we were all speechless. Eek! Inside, there were various jars of all kinds, different sizes, and inside those jars it appeared to be bones and organs. Oh my gosh. Luckily, nothing looked human. Instead, there were the bodies and organs of animals that had been jarred, but who knew how long ago? And again, there was that smell. But this time, we knew where it was coming from.
And the repairman told us that this wasn't as uncommon as we might think. And he said ever so often in these older homes, he finds similar items stored away, especially from the Victorian period. So apparently, this used to be a tradition in the state that involved using animal parts in hope of healing people. He said it was called powwow, and it looked as though the owner of the house had practiced this before she passed away.
The repairman offered to get rid of all of the jars for us, and we quickly shook our heads. Yes, we could finally get on with our lives, live in peace. And the thought of the old woman served as a good reminder for us to just enjoy life while we still could. Rich, when they opened that vent, and those jars of those animals preserved in the formaldehyde staring back at them, who would preserve animals in a jar for medicinal purposes? Ugh, so creepy. Man, back in the Victorian era, people did some weird stuff. I bet you, Rich, I bet you thought I was going to say that other SH word, but no, I kept it clean just for you.
Keep it clean like my head.
So in the article, it said once Mandy and James went ahead and got rid of all of the jars, their smelly issues had disappeared and they were able to sleep comfortably, and so did Scout.
Weezy, that was a very interesting story, and I'm glad you found that for us. And I must say, our portrayal as Mandy and James, we might be up for an Oscar for that.
Oh, you think? Maybe
I
a
think so.
maybe a raspberry, but
Or what, whatever podcasters get, is there a podcast award for?
I don't know. I don't know, but then maybe a raspberry or or you know what? Even better yet, the Darwin Award. So rich with your new venture into your website radio station. What kind of song would you pick to go along with the smells theme? What would that song be?
Well, most of my radio up to this point, I've played a lot of 90s music, but I actually like the early 2000s as well. And that's the great thing about having a 24-hour, 7-day a week, 365-day a year radio station. I've got plenty of time to program my show. So I play everything on Rich Mix Radio, and you can go to richmixradio.com for more information. I play everything from the 50s all the way into the 2000s. So the first song I thought about was Outcast. The song is Roses, and it was released back in 2003. And it used that word you almost said, Wheezy. In the
Oh, that sh word.
in the chorus,
It.
Andre 3000 starts saying, "Roses smell like poo poo." and and stuff about your bleep don't stank and that sort of stuff. So
Oh
that's
man,
what
that's
it's
nasty.
nasty, but that's where my mind went for it. My mind went in the gutter, people. My mind went first to Outcast talking about singing about poo poo.
And well, I'm a little bit older than you, so I go to the old Leonard Skinner. Ooh, that smell! Can't you smell that smell?
Yeah, that would be a good one. That would probably be a good pick for this story.
Uh, but that's
We
how it is. So where can people find your new website?
Yes, it's an online radio station powered by Live 365, and they have an app everywhere. They're on Google Play, Apple App Store, all kinds of smart devices, televisions. I really like to, Weezy, I don't know if you have one of these, but I really like it on the Roku device. It works really, really
Mm.
good, and you can look on your TV and see what's playing. But anywhere you can find Live 365, you can go on there, download the app, and search for Rich Mix Radio, and you will find me there. And if all that's too hard and technical for you, just go over to richmixradio.com.
That would probably be the way I would go because I want to hear what you're playing. Now here you are, Mister. You really getting big here, Rich, is Mister DJ. You're on. You have your own channel, and you're over there at WRUU and all sorts of places to
I,
listen to you and your music.
I'm as busy as Ryan Seacrest, but I don't have as many zeros in my bank account.
Don't we wish we had at least one zero that
Oh
he
yeah, yeah.
has
Ten
before the
dollars would be
decimal point?
good. I'd take $10 right now.
Yeah, really. 100 would be really good.
Yeah, that'd be
But
nice. Weezy, I love how you started off the story. You added the intrigue and you got people's attention. And that's what you do with your business, Living Legacy, with Weezy. You allow people to tell their story. But, some folks are not comfortable, like myself. Weezy's working on me. I'm her little turtle. But some folks are just not comfortable on video. So, what do you do to help people give a living legacy of their life, but they may not be comfortable with video?
well, I love working with people, and part of the process is letting me being able to guide and help my clients share their stories. And part of telling the stories is being able to capture the moments without like long pauses or hesitations, but pulling the stories together. And then pick out some interesting highlights to bring their stories to life in a creative and interesting way. You can check out my webpage, livinglegacywithweezy.com, to see how I can guide you to tell your stories with a little mystery tossed in.
And you can find all of that on lifemosaic.me in the show notes. We have all of our websites and ventures on those pages. And we would love to connect with you on social media. I can be found on Facebook, Instagram, and Threads at Rich on the Air. All one word, Rich on the Air. Weezy, how can folks find you?
Rich, they can find me easily with my handle LLW Weezy on Facebook, Instagram, X, formerly Twitter, and on Threads.
And thank you all so much for tuning in to Life Mosaic Podcast today. Hope you enjoyed our smelly show. And we have all kinds of great shows available for you anywhere you get your podcast and at lifemosaic.me. We'll see you again soon. Have a great day.